So welcome to video 7. So we've been standing quite a bit. We're going to get back down onto the ground, but we're not relaxing quite yet. This is going to be a little spicy, this sequence. So it's going to move into some core strengthening and some shoulder strengthening. It's so important to have flexibility, but we also the strength. And I know as a woman, as I've gotten older too, I so value my strength as much as my flexibility because it helps me go through different challenges, feeling embodied and powerful, not just physically, also in how I am able to stand upside down at times, not just literally, but how I can feel my world being turned upside down. And the times we're living in right now, sometimes it just feels like the world is so topsy-turvy and upside down. So these posts help us recalibrate and helps you recalibrate to your center, your strength, and how when you do shift your world a little upside down, maybe it's a lens to see something with a more open aperture. All right, so you're gonna come down onto your hands and your knees and join me into that tabletop position. So it looks like this, shoulder stack above the wrists, spread your fingers, root down through the knuckles. Don't sink into your shoulders, don't do that. Collarbones broad, okay? So extend your left leg behind you and take your right hand to your outer right hip. You're going to lift your left leg only to the height of the hips so you're not overarching your lower back. So you feel the strength of your center. Think of taking your ribs towards your frontal hip bones. Now, as you reach your right arm forward, wrap your outer tricep towards the earth, kind of like you're shaking somebody's hand, right? And as you feel that strength in your center, extend through your fingertips, extend through the toes. Take another deep breath and take your right hand and your knee and shin down. Maybe do a little cat-cow. I always call it a little intermission, right? And come back to tabletop position. Now extend your right leg behind you. And as you lift your right leg only to the height of the hip, take your left hand onto your outer left hip. So as you pin that in, take your ribs towards your frontal hip bones to feel the support of your center. And then like you're shaking somebody's hand, palm faces in. And as you extend through your left fingertips, reach dynamically through your right toes. Right, feel your breath, your center. Take one more deep breath and then place your left hand, right knee and shin to the mat. Now, you're gonna sit back onto your knees just for a moment. I'm gonna have you reach your arms out in front of you, palms face up towards the sky. So think of wrapping your arms, your inner arm towards the sky, outer arm down. You're gonna bring your elbows onto your mat, interlace your fingers, and reach your legs back and come into plank pose in your forearms. Now, if it's too much, lower your knees to the ground. Okay? If you're pressing your heels back, shoulders away from ears. So you're really feeling the spiciness of your center, the rooting down of your forearms. And this is where that breath is key. It is your lifeline. When it starts to go into struggle, your lifeline is your breath. And sometimes you need to lower the knees down. You just do. So listen to what you need. Now, if you're gonna come into dolphin, this is a challenging pose. You're gonna walk your feet forward, separate them about the width of your hips. As your forearms root down, you want to lift through the hips, lengthen through the spine. And those twists, if you were in that other video, helps you get that extension through the upper spine. So this is a lovely inversion. You might want to shake out your head a little bit, take a deep breath, maybe a little through the mouth. And then from here, you're going to lower your knees and shins back onto the ground and sit back for a moment. We're not done. How was that? So we do these check-ins, right? Yoga allows us to check in. How's my body feel? How's your breath? How's your heart? Whew, and let it clear for a moment. Now we're going to move into a pose. It's an arm balance. I'm going to give you modifications called Vashistasana. So it does take shoulder strength, core strength. And please move to your edge. This is the gift of yoga too. Don't push yourself beyond your limits. You know where those limits are. That's that agency. Okay, so as you come back to hands and knees, you'll reach your legs back into that plank pose. Just notice how that feels. Okay, and then lower the knees and shins down. Now you keep your left knee and shin there, extend your right leg straight and come onto the sole of your right foot. Shoulders slightly behind your wrist, and you're gonna reach your right arm up towards the sky. So don't sink into your left shoulder, root down, rebound up through that top arm. You can stay here. Next step is you can bring your left foot forward, you're staggering your feet. Or you can come into the classical pose, foot on top of foot, right? Keep this right hip coming slightly forward. Some strength in the shoulders, strengthen your center. All right, even if it gets a little shaky, stay with that breath. It's temporary. Take one more inhale. right? And then slowly come on down, right hand to the mat, come back onto your knees and shins, and sit back. How'd that go? This is a really important part of the practice. Check in. So we're not forcing ourselves. We feel, it's like, okay, what did my body tell me? It's telling you something, so we listen. All right, that's a strength. So as you come back to your hands and your knees, keep your right knee and shin as it is. Extend your left leg straight, so the sole of your left foot is on the ground. And as you root through the knuckles, don't sink into your shoulder, root down to rise. So stay here, or you can bring your right foot forward and stagger your feet, or you can stack your left foot on top of your right, bringing your left hip slightly forward. And as you reach up to the top arm, it might get a little shaky or a little quaky. It's okay, it's temporary, so if you need to come out, you do. Take one more deep breath, and then bring your right knee and shin down, hand back to the mat, and then take a few moments, sit back. This is called Vashistasana, and just see what surfaces. When you start to build that little fire, feel that strength, take you to your own personal challenge, and listen and attune to your truth. Thank you for joining me.